Pokemon Pocket's next mini set is coming out on February 28th, just 1 month after the release of Space-Time Smackdown. And while we don't have any official news on what cards are coming in the set, we can make some pretty educated guesses about what to expect. So in this video, I'll share some cards that we're likely to see in the upcoming mini set in about a week's time, along with some that are more educated guesses and maybe a couple that I sort of just hope that we get. Before I jump in, a lot of the insights here are from Pokemon Zone. They wrote a great article about what to expect in the upcoming mini set. I'll link that down below. So let's keep in mind this is our second mini set. The one before it was Mythical Island, which released after Genetic Apex, and that mini set came with 5 new Pokemon EX cards and 3 new supporter cards. So we'll assume this next one will be the same thing. We'll get 5 new EX cards, 3 new supporters, and probably just 1 pack to open. Starting off with the EX cards, I think Giratina is the most obvious that we can expect from this mini set. Space-Time Smackdown gave us Palkia and Dialga, and it's pretty safe to assume that Giratina EX will be coming next, since Giratina makes up the third of the trio of mythical Pokemon. We also already got the normal Giratina, so it's in the game. I think it's only a matter of time before we get a more powerful, exciting version of Giratina to play. And yeah, this card is just pretty underwhelming. It's really not used as an attacker. It's used more for its ability to retreat for free if you attach any energy to it, which pairs really well with Dawn. But I think having an EX version of Giratina will be really exciting if it has some more powerful moves. Other obvious EXs, I think, are Torterra EX and Empoleon EX. We have non-EX versions of both of these cards, and neither of them are all that great to play with. Plus, they represent the final evolution of the starters of Gen 4, Turtwig, and Piplup. Moving on to some less obvious EX choices, I think a Kingdra EX card would be really fun. We do have Horsey and Seadra, but they're very underwhelming. They take a lot of energy to do not that much damage. You don't see much play with them at all. So I think an entirely new line leading up to Kingdra EX as a Dragon-type Pokemon would be really cool. I love Dragon-type Pokemon, and maybe we'll get a new one in this mini set, along with some support for multi-energy type decks like Kingdra, like Dragonite, like Garchomp. I think all of these would be really fun to play with if it had a little bit of support, a little bit more consistency to get the energy that you need. Luxray EX would be pretty cool in my opinion. It's already pretty good as is, but it's a stage 2. It doesn't have all that much consistency, so having an EX version of it would be pretty interesting with more HP, more attacking power to go along with Volkner. Now, Mythical Island gave us Mew EX, which is a mythical Pokemon from the Kanto region from Gen 1, and since Space-Time Smackdown is from Gen 4, we might expect to see another mythical Pokemon EX come along with this new mini set. Now, the obvious hope would be to get an Arceus EX, but I highly doubt that will happen, I guess because Arceus hasn't been added to Pokemon Go or other popular Pokemon video games because of its controversial ability to change types, which might make it really difficult to implement it into a game without breaking it and making it overpowered. I think it's much more likely that we'll see a Manaphy or a Shaman. I think Shaman is probably the likely choice here. Shaman has an interesting ability already where it can heal all of your Pokemon for 10, so a Shaman EX with more healing ability and some more viable attacking power could be a pretty potent card to play with. Moving on to trainer cards and specifically supporters, we already got Volkner and Cynthia. Both of these are leaders from the Gen 4 video games, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some more gym leaders or Elite 4 members as new supporter cards in this upcoming set. First on my list, and I think it's probably unlikely, but I'd love to see a Fantina card. She is the ghost type gym leader in the Sinnoh region, and I would love to see some Gengar support, some direct Gengar support. It really needs it. I'm gonna keep talking about it until they make it happen. I can't wait for Gengar EX to be a little more viable. Maybe something that allows you to deal more damage. There's an interesting supporter card from the TCG called Karen's Conviction, which allows you to deal additional damage for each of your opponent's knockout points. So if your opponent has 2 knockout points on you, which they probably do because you're playing Gengar EX, then maybe Gengar does an additional 30 damage per knockout point or something like that. Gengar definitely needs something to attack for more than 100 damage. It's just not enough to make up for the inconsistency of getting it online. Our last mini set gave us Blue, who was your rival in the Kanto region, the Gen 1 games. And in Gen 4, we have Barry as our rival, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Barry as a trainer. I'm not sure exactly what this might do. There is a Barry trainer card, which allows you to draw 3 cards in the TCG, but this would be a little too powerful in a 20 card deck system like TCG Pocket. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something a little bit different. Maybe you draw cards from the bottom of the deck, or you have to discard a card in order to draw from the deck, something along those lines, but we might see Barry in this upcoming set. Maylene is the fighting gym leader in the Sinnoh region. I think it would be cool to see some more broad fighting type support. We have Brock, but it's really specific to Golem and Onyx. A lot of the fighting decks we see right now are this close to being right up there with the top meta decks, but they just fall short, so I think some sort of support to go along with them would go a long way. And finally, we have Cyrus, which was released with Spacetime Smackdown and really shook up things in Pokemon TCG Pocket. It's a complete game changer, and retreating to the bench no longer guarantees you safety from your opponent. So I think something to go against this would be really interesting. And Volo, who's the main antagonist in Pokemon Legends Arceus, would be a really interesting supporter to sort of go against Cyrus. And there is this interesting card in the TCG, which would allow you to basically discard one of your EX Pokemon from the bench to your discard pile, thereby getting that EX Pokemon out of harm's way. So imagine you have your Pikachu EX and it's got 10 HP on the bench. You can just throw that away into the discard pile, getting it out of harm's way, and potentially giving your opponent 2 knockout points. Anyway, this is all speculation at this point. We don't have any guaranteed data. Let me know what cards you would love to see in this upcoming set. Leave a comment down below. Till then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.